99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. This is the nation's #1 talk news and the sports radio station. We're broadcasting live from our audiovisual studios here in It's Me and Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. And on the big hard facts today, we're talking about something that's close to my heart, and that's because I like my environment to be clean. I like it to, I like to give it what I want it to give back to me, and that's fresh air. But then we're going beyond that today to talk about climate ambitions versus actions. Do we have plans and actions to match the ambitions that we have created for climate change as we get to the year 2026? My guests are impressive. None of them are strangers to this station, but I'm so excited to have them join me on the conversation. Just give it a few moments. I will get to them. But today on the Big Hard Facts, we turn to an issue that is no longer theoretical, seasonal, or optional. Climate change is now a lived reality. Now, a lot of you saw rains in January and you're wondering, yes, it is a lived reality. Measured not just in degrees and emissions, but in flooded homes, eroded coastlines, collapsed drainage systems, rising food prices, and public health emergencies. Now, globally, the world has known about climate risk for decades. From the Kyoto Protocol of 1997 to the Paris Agreement of 2015, countries have pledged to limit global warming to well below to about 2% to 1.5%. Africa, despite contributing less than 4% of global emissions, bears some of the harshest impacts. According to recent analysis, 2026 is now being framed as Africa's make or break year. The moment when climate ambition must finally turn into action, or we risk permanent damage to our lives and our economies. And Nigeria is not exempt. We have a climate change act, national commitments towards net zero by 2060, and climate adaptation plans on paper. Yet, flooding, erosion, heat waves, waste mismanagement, and air pollution are intensifying. Nowhere more visibly than in Lagos, Africa's economic capital, a coastal megacity of over 25 to 27 million people. Lagos sits barely above sea level, with scientists warning that climate inaction could cost the city over $20 to $29 billion in economic losses within decades. This evening, we're asking the hard questions, like why has climate action lagged behind climate warning? What exactly must Nigeria and Lagos in particular do differently? And how do we balance activism, policy, economic survival, and political will? Joining me to discuss this are Desmond Majekodumi. For those of you who do not know, Desmond has a show here on Nigeria Info and is also a friend of the house. He's a climate activist and environmentalist, and it's so good to have him join us. Also flanked by our favorite government person. I think that Nigeria Info has seen more of this essay than any other government employee. Mrs. Titi Oshodi is a special advisor to the Lagos State government on climate change and circular economy. I love to have her here because for me, she's my best essay. It's so good to have you join us, lady and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much. And such a pleasure, always a pleasure to be here with you.
Great. Hi, Desmond.
Thank you.
Great. Let's get into the business of the day because it concerns all of us. And that's why I have you, the two greatest persons to have this conversation with. So I'm going to start with the big picture and why this is an urgent conversation to be had. I'll start with you, Desmond. Africa has been sounding the alarm for years, yet the continent remains stuck, between climate vulnerability and weak actions. From your perspective, as someone who continuously, talks about it, why has climate change in Nigeria remained more of a conservation conversation than mobilization, even as floods and erosion, even the heat wave is worsening?
Yeah, or even you could ask the question, where's the Hamatan? Has anybody seen Hamatan?
It's gone somewhere. Maybe it's in Zimbabwe.
And that is a classic example of what they're talking about when they say climate change. Harmattan has been coming to this territory in Africa, in Lagos, for hundreds of years on a regular basis, hundreds of years. And then a few years ago, we started seeing, it's getting weak, it's getting weak. And then this year, instead of dust clouds, we had 3 rainstorms. The first of them was on the 1st of January. A classic example is nature shouting out to the citizens of this territory that you are damaging my life support systems. And the reality is, okay, we have so many other issues. There's no doubt about that. In this, our dear beloved Nigeria, there's a lot of problems. And sometimes we just focus away on this one. But whether we turn away from it or not, it's not going to go away until we do the things that are provoking it, that are making it come. It's not going to go away just like that at all. And it is getting bad. And on a final note, I'll just paraphrase the Secretary General of the United Nations, because you mentioned that conference they had in Paris in 2015, 10 years ago. It was a big conference. They do it every year. All the world leaders were there because they wanted them to sign a treaty to reduce the pollution. And he said these words. He said, mankind is waging war against nature, and this is suicidal. He used that word, suicidal, because nature always fights back, and she's fighting back with more vigor and fury. Okay, so everybody agreed, including Nigeria. Our president was there. We signed and ratified a treaty. We're going to reduce particularly the carbon dioxide pollution. We're going to reduce it because it's gone overboard. It's gone 50% higher than what it has been for thousands of years. Thousands of years. We have made it in the last 150 years, that is mankind, 50% higher. So we all agreed, but guess what? Hey, by 2015, the level of CO2 pollution had never, ever been so high, including coming from Nigeria, which in all fairness, we don't pollute nearly as much, and we certainly don't have a history of that sort of pollution. However, God's natural way of absorbing the carbon dioxide is the forests, the trees, the savannas even are good, but the wetlands are good. And guess which country has the biggest, most rapid deforestation rate in the world? Yeah, you guessed it, Nigeria. And Lagos can play a very, very important role because we have a lot of the mangrove forests, the wetlands, which are very good for that. So, why are we not doing it? Maybe the awareness hasn't knocked us, but when you start looking for Harmattan and you can't find it, you know there's a problem. Okay. But it can be solved, and we shall solve it.
Well, that's the reason why we're having this conversation. Let me come to you, Mr. Oshodi. Let's talk about the fact that Lagos State government does acknowledge that we have a climate issue, a climate emergency. In fact, from the Lagos State government side, you acknowledge that there's a risk. But critics argue that policy hasn't moved fast enough relative to the scales of the threat, just as Desmond has laid it out. How does Lagos State currently assess its climate risk, and how urgent is the situation really, especially because you heard that department? You're muted.
Thank you so much. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And once again, good afternoon. Yes, it's undisputed. Lagos is one of the fastest growing cities in the world, and a population of 20 million. We have thousands of people who relocate to Lagos in search of opportunity, and Lagos is offering at each point in time jobs, industries, markets, and we're offering hope. Under the constitutional order, you can move and migrate to anywhere you want within the country as a citizen. But this rapid growth is clearly causing a lot of consequences for us. There's pressure because more people mean more pressure on housing infrastructure, on transport, on the waste systems, on energy, and ultimately the environment. And Lagos is expanding. It's expanding faster than its natural systems can recover. The climate change is also amplifying that pressure. So what we don't talk about, for the most part, is that this pressure is heavy on the environment, and because of this overpopulation, builders are forced to to fell trees. I see Mr. Majakodumi sitting in a very green area and enjoying clean air where he is. But unlike how it was in the 1960s, in the 60s, environmental difference was much clearer than what it is that we're enjoying right now. And we don't even want to go that far back. If you visit less populated areas, like Ekpe and the rural communities, you feel the difference in the quality of the air. You feel the difference in the trees that are absent. You feel the difference in green spaces that are not available anymore. The environment is not calm anymore. And in many parts, these green areas that are supposed to be absorbing the heat and the rain, they have been replaced, with concrete. So as a result, our natural balance has been deregulated. We don't have the regulated temperature, and we're not able to manage water, which is, in a spike that is disappearing, gradually. So development is wrong. Development is necessary. I mean, all of what is wrong, but we have to become climate smart. And this is why, climate change and the proponents of a climate smart economy becomes really very important. Our conversation should be about how we're going to develop the ambitions, around it. How do we deal with our reality today, where we're able to drive a deep level, ingrain and embed a deeper level of knowledge for our communities to be able to build resilience by adapting into the change that they are experiencing. And our response is this from a government perspective. We've established this legal and policy framework that you have mentioned right now, and gladly, even the federal on the federal level, there are ambitions that are also being put in place. From our office, we have, aligned ourselves with these national policies so that we're able to implement them, on a subnational level. We're focusing on education and awareness. We're driving practical solutions that people can relate to and they can benefit from them. Because we understand that, we have to scale knowledge and we have to meet people at the level that they are able to manage the level, the effects of impacts as it affects them, right? Our blanket size advocacy runs through a lot of times, maybe at festive periods, where we, develop campaign, to create some form of fun and entertainment and subliminally send the message of focus on climate responsibility, waste management that is responsible, climate-friendly activities, understanding that environmental pressure is at its peak, and we have to have community responsibility at core. We're promoting. We want to ensure that we're utilizing passion points for the widest brackets of the city's demography. And who are those? The youths. They're the widest, they're the most vibrant, they're the most, innovative. So driving a narrative through effective waste management using, passion points like fashion, music, sports, technology, because when we start to speak those languages and then infuse and embed climate literacy and climate-friendly responsibility into it, it is ingrained into their minds, and they can begin to interpret it in ways that are different, in their communities.
Great, interesting. Let me come back to you, Desmond. The Premium Times newspaper put out an analysis that talked about climate ambition versus action. That describes the year 2026 as the year that Africa must turn climate ambition into action. Based on what you have seen from COP, all the different COPs that we've seen, the treaties and global pledges, why do you think that Africa continues to struggle to convert international climate agreements into local measurable incomes or outcomes? I beg your pardon.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. It's difficult for us to really, lock into that, because it's the impacts of the climate change on Africa and even cities like Lagos have come upon fairly recently. And in days gone by, there was nothing. We were, as Africans, as Nigerians, we were living very harmoniously with nature. Just the classic example is the plastic waste, which our honorable essay has elaborated on a little bit. And there's some very concerted efforts, very, very laudable efforts coming out of the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Health. There seems to be a bit more of a coming together of the various ministries, or some of them. I think that's part of the whole themes agenda, which is a very, very progressive agenda of Mr. Governor, because the only way that we can have any viable solution to this big problem is by coming together. But, we haven't really caught on to it, as I was saying, because, the plastic issue, my grandmother, she threw the containers for her food and drinking, things into the bush. And in no time at all, they deteriorated. Moi leaf and calabash. It's not going to spoil the environment. It's going to enhance it. So we were in harmony far more than the European countries, who were the ones that actually triggered off the whole industrial revolution and did it with such irresponsibility. They showed that, in terms of utilizing that wonderful gift of the spirit of witty invention, which God Almighty has put into mankind's brain, wonderful brain, we haven't really evolved enough to use it responsibly. And so it's a recent thing for us, but it's coming on us very, very rapidly now. We are extremely vulnerable to it here in the tropics, especially by the coast, because the seas are warming. They're warming faster than has ever been recorded in history of humanity. And the simple science, when water heats up, it expands. So hundreds of billions of tons of water are expanding, the oceans are rising, and also when you heat up the oceans, you're going to get a lot more evaporation. And guess what happens? When you have more evaporation, you have more rainfall. You have the rain bombs that are coming. So we're extremely vulnerable. And I'm glad that Mr. Governor is on top of this. And I'm so happy that some of his commissioners really, really get it. But we need to disseminate this information far more effectively into the schools, the young people. I love the fact that they're targeting on us young people.
Desmond, really? Okay. I agree with you totally. Yes, us young people. Let me come back to Mrs. Oshodi. You were at the last COP. What month was that? You attended COP, the very last one.
November?
Yes, in November. Yes, I saw you. Nigeria has signed to the Paris Agreement and passed the Climate Change Act. So you have already started telling us. I mean, one of the things you come to tell us on Nigeria Info is some of the innovations that you have had to put in place to get people interested in saving the environment. How do we, like Desmond has said, how do we speed up the process in terms of moving this policy into decisions or infrastructure, transport, housing, and waste? I mean, again, thanks to Tokumba Wahab and some of the things that he's doing in collaboration with your department. But how can we fast track the process? Because like you said, the water's not waiting on us.
Yeah. So I think that, we have to straddle all of the, we're at that point where it cannot be systematic. We have to pull everything together and, sort of balance it out as we pivot. One of the areas that is really pressing, and two, if I may say, two sectors that are very, very strong in driving climate stewardship is in waste management and in energy. And, like Desmond had said, he was talking about cooking and how, you throw out your waste and those wastes are degenerative, so they decompose and they are natural. They are able to give the nutrients, to the ground. Nowadays, you find that, our reality is families relying on firewood, and that is the majority of the vulnerable communities that have been, categorized as, being hit hard by climate change. And you'd find that from study, most of those families rely on firewood because it is affordable and it is accessible. However, it's not, it's contributing greatly. It's got great consequences, contributing to deforestation. It is increasing the carbon emission. It is causing, indoor air pollution. It's affecting health.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to disturb your train of thoughts. You need to go on a quick break. We'll be back to talk more about this firewood and felling of wood. We'll be right back. Lagos, stay with us.
More talk, news, and sports after this. Lagos, get ready! Something new has arrived in Ikoyi.
Introducing the brand new Moneyfield head office, now open at number 105 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi. A modern banking space designed just for you. Faster service, smarter banking, and a team committed to helping you grow.
At Moneyfield, we provide a full range of financial solutions to support individuals, SMEs, and growing businesses. Our services include savings and investment products, personal and business loans, virtual accounts, salary and SME loans, cards, USSD, dialing *5684# to transact, and many more.
Visit us today at number 105 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, and experience banking built on trust, innovation, and excellence. Or visit any of our 6 branches in Idumota, Onikan, Trade Fair, Oshodi Shopping Complex, Yaba, and Ijora.
Moneyfield Microfinance Bank. You are in good hands.
Hey there, mums and dads. Did you know that some children are picky eaters and also do not get enough fruits and vegetables from their diet? Well Kid Baby and Infant Syrup is a food supplement from Vitabiotics that contains 14 vitamins and minerals, including vitamin C and zinc, as well as flaxseed oil, which supports brain development and all-round health. Well Kid Baby and Infant Tasty Syrup is for children 3 months to 5 years of age. Give your young ones a good start with Well Kid Baby and Infant from Vitabiotics UK. Available in pharmacies near you.
Introducing So Clean Pink Detergent, Nigeria's first pink detergent innovation, specially formulated to make your clothes look and smell amazing. It's with 2 times perfume, so every wash releases a burst of long-lasting fragrance. It's soft on clothes with color guard that leaves your colored clothes vibrant and bright. So Clean Pink delivers great cleaning while treating your fabrics to a touch of luxury. Feel the pink with So Clean, the #1 pink detergent.
My guy! You sabi say you need health insurance, abi? Yeah? God forbid, I know they sick. Calm down. This one dey different. Whether you sick or you no sick, you go still flex.
Yeah.
You mean am? Yeah, nah.
Yes, there's a new way to do health insurance with New Health, where you enjoy accessible and affordable health plans and much more. Visit newhealth.ng now to start. New Health, your win-win partner.
When you dine at that 5-star restaurant, ever tried eating with just one chopstick? When you go on a business trip, do you fly in a plane with one wing? Ever tried clapping with only one hand? or playing a game of tennis? Alone? We know your answer is a no because you know it takes two to tango. So, why not choose a partner that's equipped to complement you?
Get Value Alliance Asset Management Solutions today. Let's grow lasting wealth together. Visit www.valuealliance.com to get started. Value Alliance. We grow with you.
Guy, I think I met the love of my life today.
Oh yeah, drop this gist as in the hall.
I was about to talk to her when she entered the bus.
Yeah, sad that you didn't talk to her.
Which guy? I followed her into the bus.
You almost had me.
Of course, I was going to sit next to her when one old baba looked at me. So I had to give up my seat.
Which kind of story be this now?
So I decided to write a note.
Finally, victory.
But wind blew it.
Instead of you to go closer.
Trust me now. I did. You know, as soon as someone else stood up beside her, I swiftly sat beside her, checked my breath and all. Anyways, guess who has a date tonight?
Enjoy confidence to go closer with Close Up that gives you lasting fresh breath and full antibacterial protection because in life, closer is better.
From Saturday, the 31st of January at 8 p.m., 1 billion naira is up for grabs every single week. Buy your tickets now before sales close. Go to everymillion.ng, pick your lucky numbers, and play for just 1,000 naira. There are lots of other amazing prizes. Catch the live draw every Saturday at 8 p.m. on Wazobia TV, with repeats on Wazobia FM, Cool FM, and Nigeria Info. Every Millions, we win together. Licensed by the Lagos State Lottery and Gaming Authority. Terms and conditions apply.
In life, the more successful you become, the more you realize that there's always a key factor that helps make success happen. Just like a seed becomes a tree with the support of the right soil, and the bridge stands tall because its pillars hold it up. Lasting success happens when the right things work together, like you and the reputable partner with the right expertise. Get Value Alliance Asset Management Solutions today. Let's grow lasting wealth together. Visit www.valuealliance.com to get started. Value Alliance. We grow with you.
Win from over 80 million naira in cash and exciting prizes in the Golden Hunt promo.
This promo, there's no need for advert anymore.
Because
my mom alone can hunt down any gist. How much more 80 million naira in prizes with the whole family involved?
Naija, let the Golden Hunt begin. Just buy any Golden Morn Golden Hunt 30 gram or 45 gram promo pack. Look inside for a unique code and dial *8011*1# for a chance to win big. Promo ends April 15, 2026. Golden Morn. Make every day golden.
We bring to you the conversations that matters.
Sarah has sued governors of the 36 states and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
The Nigeria needs this administration to treat them better than the last administration did.
The responsibility of any government around the world is to secure lives and property first.
It is a principle of fair and equitable treatment.
And most of these properties that are developing, they are empty.
Are you going to just sit down here and watch all 36 governors become APC members?
People who are fanatics don't see anything wrong with people who they support.
If you stand for the truth, this country will move forward. But we refuse.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Conversation never stops. Let's talk.
Nigeria's biggest decisions start with the hardest questions, and I'm asking them on Hard Facts 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back, Lagos. We're talking climate change, climate ambition versus action. Are we fast-tracking the process so that we can save what's left of Mother Earth, especially within Lagos and its environs? So we cannot talk about anywhere else because this is our own home. So we're starting from here, and then, of course, we now go to Samaria and the other ends of the earth. I still have with me Desmond Majakodumi, Titi Oshodi, Special Advisor to the Governor on climate change and circular economy, and we're talking obviously about how we can help change things. Now, before we went on the break, Mr. Oshodi, you were talking about cutting down of trees and how poverty plays a role in the deteriorating aspect of our mangroves. Now, I lived in a part of the world where, I come from a part of the world where we used to have the only untapped rainforest at the time. And then a governor came and gave an order, so they've been cutting the trees, and I mean that in itself is a problem. But I'll let you continue your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Such decisions are usually made, especially they're made out of ignorance, with the fact that we do not understand, and it's not our fault. I cannot say that we should take the blame for it. There's a lot, even it is even scriptural when they say that my people perish for lack of knowledge. So we have to begin to re-educate and self-regulate ourselves, and that's why a program like the Clean Cooking Stove, which is one of the vehicles that we are using to not only buy emotional intelligence, emotional appeal, but we're also using it to help these vulnerable communities to interact directly with what can make their lives a lot more easier, a lot more comfortable, and they can also be able to generate extra income of revenue alongside. Without going into the technicalities of it, we want to use the Clean Cook Stove, which we have also started to pilot in a place like Makoko, so that we can start to gather data that would help to calculate the reduction in emission, to be able to see the trajectory of health improvement across that place because of their limited exposure to bad, harmful smoke. We can also, on the back end, calculate the reduction in the pressure on the forest, and we can begin to datarize the level of improvement in the quality of life of the people. Now, aside from that, from the government perspective, because under the leadership of Governor Sanwo-Olu, we pride ourselves in driving PPP arrangements, and that's because government cannot do it alone. And the sustainability of any project is essentially premised upon the long-term phase, which means that private sector must be able to drive, because once it is a profitable endeavor, it will go and it will sustain itself, and the communities can also own it by themselves. So once with the energy sector, I can say for a fact, and a few days ago, I had a conversation with the Commissioner for Energy, and I was really fascinated by the level of project and the quantum of resources and funding that is being thrown in that space. As we speak, I've heard, we have the domestic solar manufacturing arrangement project to drive local assembly of solar cells and also solarize our street lights. Not only are we doing the street lights, but they're looking at a 40,000 unit, to be spread across the metropolis, and then still going into 80,000. About 20,000 of those have already started to function right now. They're looking at solarizing hospitals, the public health centers. They're looking into solarizing schools. 57 of our schools are already working on solar right now. They're off the grid, right? And they're also looking beyond that into measuring the carbon emission and the reduction of fossil fuel generators that is being used typically for running those things. And that also speaks to the carbon finance aspect of it for reinvestment purposes. So I'm really very proud that that aspect and that sector is beginning to burgeon in that area. We've tested out biodigesters. One of the things that we did about a year and a half ago at a correctional facility in Idi Araba. Now, we're having conversations with private sector entities who are looking into doing the same thing with markets, So even though with Loma, there's also that model, and I think it is working already at EcoC, where the side components of fertilizer is being distributed freely right now to farmers, right? So there's that ongoing, and they're using the biodigester that generates the methane to also provide solar power to power the market at EcoC. And these are things that are going to be replicated, but they're also in conjunction and in collaboration with private sector. One is also coming up at another one of the abattoirs, and the capacity, they're looking at a 3,000 megawatt capacity for 30,000, megawatt capacity to be generated from that. And they want to be able to provide electricity off the grid for that, for the abattoir, and also for the environs as well. So these are things that are in the pipelines, that are coming through. And more strategically is the fact that you will see that from what I'm saying, there are financial angling around it, which means that our fiscal, and budgetary allocations must be in place. We have to ensure that, in the green bond financing, which is one of the things that we have also celebrated, and we've not been able to put that out in Lagos. Our 50 billion green bond financing, we're issuing a 30 to 40 million to fund solar, renewable energy and sustainable transport projects, and sitting in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, the commissioner, Mr. Okwe is also really, really working on how to be able to evaluate performances across the various sectors for the level and the depth of greenery that these projects are going to be bringing forth. So we're developing an ecosystem, where all of these are beginning to tie into each other. And that's why I say that we have to straddle it all. We cannot, be systematic one way, but because it's caught up on us, we're right in the middle of it, but we have to then see how infrastructure can be, be provided, how monetization processes can be in place, how the private sector can also be able to play, so that irrespective of whatever administration, the communities are the last mile people that can get to enjoy the dividends of these policies and these frameworks.
Lovely. Desmond, climate adaptation is expensive. Lagos, like she's talked about, has talked about green finance, partnerships, private sector involvement. She's literally, she took a peep at my script today, I must say. I don't know who linked it to her, but Desmond, it's okay. She I don't want to go into where will the money come from, but I want to talk about citizens' behavior and political will. Beyond government, Desmond, what responsibility do we as citizens carry? From waste disposal to energy use to political pressure, what behavioral changes do you think can actually matter in a city like Lagos?
This is very, very deep and a very necessary question that needs to be answered. Again, I refer back to that conference of the parties in Paris 2015, where they told us very clearly that humanity is waging a suicidal war, for the simple reason that if we push this aberration of wrecking the climate, remember, the environment is our life support system, and it's a miraculous system. This earth is like a diamond in the sky. This planet Earth is heaven's poetry to us. It's the only planet out of millions that we've been able to observe so far that has the capacity to support life as we know it. It's a special place, and we're taking a wrecking ball to it. And if we do too much of that for too long, we trigger off, and this is what is really, really worrying the scientists and the people in the United Nations and the International Panel for Climate Change and the meteorologists. If we carry on too much And as we said, we've already increased the greenhouse gases by 50%. The temperature of the earth has gone up by almost 1.5 degrees above average. Oh, if we take it too far, we trigger off what they call unstoppable situations, whereby the earth itself will have been provoked to be an emitter. That is the rainforests, the ice caps. They shall now be emitting more of this gas than they are absorbing or they are deflecting. And that becomes catastrophic. In fact, at that 2015 conference, Secretary General UN, he said, it's a crisis, it's a crisis. At the 2025 conference they had last year, not the one in Brazil this year, 2025 conference, 24 conference, sorry. He no longer used the word crisis. He said, it's an emergency. And we need to get that into our consciousness, that we have triggered off an emergency situation. And as our SAE said very, very, very happily to me, to my ears, that they're going to use the arts, they're going to use the music people, they're going to use the creatives, they're going to use the media, like your wonderful organization dedicating so much time to this, to get this message out there, that we have to change our ways. We know what to do. I can see that. It's coming out even from Lagos State, from Mr. Governor and his wonderful cabinet and his special advisors. He has people who really know what to do, but we have to start doing it and, increase it more. Where's the funding going to come from? Well, the president was at some meetings from the COP meeting. He sent a representative. He was also in Dubai, and he's working with other strategic partners to try to get some of these funds, because there are funds available for this adaptation. There are people all over the world who realize, look, this is an emergency. And you see, the reality of it is that it's not just the physical harm and damage. I'm glad that my sister there, she quoted a bit of scripture, when she was talking about the lack of knowledge. But there's also a scripture that is very, very clear, and it goes like this. He said, don't be mocked. God is not mocked. Yes, don't be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, whatever a man sows, he shall reap. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we sowing into our souls, into our spirits, especially those who are in positions of decision making. I don't envy them. It's a massive responsibility, because you take actions, you do things that are going to affect millions of people. Those things better be the right things. And definitely, we need to get back into the school system. Let's have a bit more of this themes. Let it work closer together. The Ministry of Education has to be right on top of it. I'm glad to hear that the Ministry of Energy is keen to do the right thing. The solar thing is such excitement to my ears. I tried to introduce solar years back, but there's another area though that they could be reminded about, and that's the wind energy along our coast, especially Badagry coast. You don't have to put it right on the beach, just put it a bit back so it won't be, sort of aesthetically undesirable. But we can generate a tremendous amount of wind from that. The British government, I'm sure they've been more than happy. The Dutch government, they know very much about this. They might even, decide to invest in it. So that's an area as well. We need to go deeper into the renewable energy, into clean energy systems. How can we be using poison to supply energy? Let me ask you a question. If I bring a generator into your control room there, will you, one of those, what do they call, better pass my neighbor, will you allow me to spark the generator? Oh, it's poisonous. And not only is it deadly to mammalian life, it is damaging the miracle of our atmosphere, which is making this world a place that people can live and thrive. So we need to push much harder and ensure that the international community realize whatever monies they give shall be judiciously spent, because the people spending them will be very, very wary of not causing total havoc to the life support system of their children. And that's why I'm glad that we're hearing what we're hearing now. I'm very encouraged.
All right. Well, Lagos, we want your buy-in. I was having a conversation with a friend from Uganda who is a geopolitics, especially African analyst, and he talked about, he wasn't in any way absolving government of their responsibilities, but he talked about the fact that we as a people need a deconstruction, more like an unlearning, so that we can relearn about how to, take care of our environment. And he was talking about it politically. He also talked about the fact that there's open defecation, and this is an African problem. He talked about the fact that, we dump trash wherever we find ourselves. We just throw things around. That is not the fault of government, but that it is innate of us as Africans to behave that way. And then we need to deconstruct our mindsets as to, these things, which is also something that we can consider as we're fighting climate change. So Lagos, join the conversation. 0201 277 0993. We have very little time. I have about 5 minutes. 30 seconds. Go straight to the point. You have questions, you have comments, you have concerns. Let's talk about it. The ladies, 0201 465 7190. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. Post your comments. Desmond Magic Kodumi, Titi, Oshodi, essay to the governor, both here with us as we discuss climate change. And it's not a one-off conversation. It's conversations that we'll continue to have, God willing. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hi, Miriam. Good evening to you and your guest.
Yes, 30 seconds.
See, Miriam, some have alluded this disappearance of Hamatan and other changes in climatic change conditions as an end-time syndrome. The people are not helping to better this quagmire we found ourselves in. I understand that. But also, I would say the government too has to give us who we can call. Miriam, when somebody is doing a bush burning in my area, cutting the trees, or doing all sorts of things, who do I call? Who do I reach out to?
All right. Thank you very much for calling.
Citizen, but what is the government doing as well?
All right. So who do they call? Ghostbusters. I'm joking. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Yes, this is Kenny from Shomolu.
Go ahead.
With reference to the deforestation going on in Lagos State, I would like to see a whole lot of coconuts planted around the beaches to make up for that, and then shrub-like, vegetation planted in every space available where we can, reforest our country, our state, and improve the CO2 equilibrium. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Kenny, for calling. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Good afternoon, Marianne.
Good afternoon. 30 seconds, please.
My name is Ige. I think we don't have enough sensitization for the people. So I don't know, here in my area, you see them burning coal, they burn bush, destroy trees. These traditional people, the traditional rulers, they don't know nothing. All they are concerned about is the money, collect money from those that are cutting down the trees. So I think there should be enough sensitization for the people. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ige, for calling. I appreciate it. Sensitization is the way to go. Hello. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah. Good evening. How are you?
Fine. Thank you. 30 seconds, please.
Yes. This is Barrister Peter Oko. I'm calling from Mende, Maryland. Yes. I'm listening to your guest with rapt attention, the person from Uganda, and
we're not talking about the Uganda situation here. I'm so sorry, and I don't think you were listening. Your time is up. 30 seconds is all you have. Please go straight to the point.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening. This is Amos calling from Nicole.
Amos, go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly thought of your other girl in the mail. But I'm highly disappointed in what is happening, particularly in Ikoyi here, in the name of protecting the higher voltage. When you come to Ikoyi, you will see the government itself are destroying the trees here. I can tell you, Chris has reported this before now. The government itself, they should work towards it.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. I know that it was difficult for you to hear, but he was saying that he believed that the government also plays a role in the degradation, environmental degradation. He says specifically in Ikoyi that the government is involved in cutting down the trees, and he thinks that the government needs to... yes, that's what he said. And he specifically said in Ikoyi that they should be stopped. One last call, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Hello.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Sir, you've already called us. We need to take other calls. Thank you very much. One more call and then I think I should just let my guests speak because we don't have any more time. Mr. Oshodi, would you like to respond to the fact that in a bid to build more luxurious apartments in Ikoyi and some other places, government is somewhat complicit in this environmental degradation? I know that you're not going to say anything bad about government, but what say you?
Well, first and foremost, I think that there are already existing departments and agencies who give approvals and licenses. In fact, these agencies have become even more well-versed around the urban planning and how to be able to ensure that greenery is retained, even with the infrastructure or even with the construction that is going on, that they have started to invest. Because again, I started this conversation by saying that this state is overpopulated. And in the midst of it, housing is a major factor of urban planning. So that has to be taken into consideration. We have to be able to balance it out one way or another. Greenery is part of the planning and the structuring, in that space, and that will be. That's all I can say. And they also
unfortunately, our time is up. Desmond, I can give you just 10 seconds to drop a great one-liner for us because we've got to go.
Yeah, keep it green, bring the green back into Nigeria. We're a green nation, and we shall do that. And if you want to see lots of green, come to Lufasi Park, which we're doing in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture. You'll have loads of green. Loving nature is the key.
All right. Thank you very much, Desmond Majekodumi, Titi Oshodi, SA2, the Governor on Climate Change and Circular Economy. Desmond loves green, and he's bringing back the green to Lagos. Thank you, gentlemen and lady, for joining the show.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
In life, the more successful you become,
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.